So I started the movie late. We got to know all of these fundamental theorem of algebra, irrational conjugate theorem, remainder theorem turns into a factor. Then product and sum is what we just used. You'll see me in action on this later. I want to get going on this here to move this along. Because seventh hour is yip yapping and I got to get their attention again. All right. Input, say it. Okay, so you are going to input that and then the output ends up being this. So what I'm indicating here is now that's what we do with that last piece of information. And then we just do our calculations. -4 minus 1 is -5. Is that okay there? Can I do that? As I see a lot of people not watching anyway. I just put 2 times -2 is -4 minus 1 is -5. And then I should have done this. Let me just put -2 in there and square it. But this is +4 in parentheses, right? 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 All right, now we get -160. There's got a lot of people working on their own and they're jibber jabbering with each other. Hard to pay attention. And isn't that 40 negative, right? So we can divide by -40 and then we get A equals 4, right? 4, 4, 4. Now, I want this in factored form with integer constants and coefficients. This is why we need this to be in this form and not this anyway, because those are not integers, they're imaginary numbers. So when you say I want it in factored form but with integers, I do have to call this x squared plus 4 to follow the rules. Because 4 is an integer, 1x squared is an integer. And then that's why I need 2x minus 1, not x minus a half. And now I do have that a value of 4. And then that's what f of x equals. Is it 4? Right? Not -4? Yes. Okay? And that is in factored form with integers. No I numbers. No fractions. All right? So at least it's not in standard form, which unfortunately is our next one. Okay, so our next one. I have a quartic. Just understand that a quartic is an x to the 4th. All right, so no big deal. Oh, and that's simple. If 3 root 5 is a 0, what else is, everyone? -3 root 5. If 6i is a 0, what else is a 0? -6i. Okay? This group right here always has something going on. All right, so here we go. We're going to do the easy rule. X squared, sum of the zeros, 0, product of the zeros. What's -3 times 3? -9. What's root 5 times root 5? 5. What's -9 times 5? -45. I am color coding for these zeros and I'm using the sum and product rule. Then yet again, it's x squared minus the sum. Just writing it for giggles. So you understand I'm exercising the minus sum plus product rule. Because otherwise, I'll show you what you would have to write above this in FOIL. All right, and you'd end up with the same thing anyway. But what's -6 times -6? 36 negative, but then 36 negative I squared is what? Positive. So if you did this, this is taking the place of actually foiling, which is what I used to do. I used to make the kids foil this, and you would have ended up with that red, and you would have foiled this, and you would have ended up with the blue. -6i plus 6i. So this is what you alleviate when you use the sum product rule of polynomials. So we don't want to do this. In an example 3, it's really bad. So that's why we want to get this rule down. And then I'm going to go ahead and put an a there and an f of x, and then we're going to get our highlighter and highlight that -34 goes here, and 7 goes here, and here. Because the other ones fall out. All right, so I'll just leave this in regular colors now. A, and then this is 7 squared, which is 49 minus 45. This is nothing. And then this is another 49 plus 36. All right, because that's what -36 I squared becomes. So plugging in that other random point. All right, we got some big numbers here. Negative 34 equals A. Not this one, 4. This one is 7985, right? 49 and 36. 4 times 85 is 161. Oh no. Is that 180? I feel like I did something wrong. I feel like I'm not getting the number I got in the other hour. What's 4 times 180? 340? Oh no, it is good. 340. Because that's what I do remember. I do remember dividing by 340. And then I do get A equals negative 1 over 10, right? Is that right? 34, 340, 10 times negative 1/10. Now we got sadness. Write the equation in standard form. So that means I got to do this extra work. F of x equals negative 1/10. It ain't no thing. X squared minus 45. X squared plus 36. Now I got that 1/10, and it really is just a FOIL and distribute. Do not throw in a negative 1/10 now. That makes your life harder. This is x to the 4th. This is 36x squared and negative 45x squared, which I believe is negative 9x squared. Ay, caramba. Someone type 45 times 36 under calculator. I always love when I ask this and everyone just looks at each other. What? Negative 1620. Thank you. And then we got to take 1/10 of all of those. So we got to distribute. Okay, so then f of x equals, sorry for my f looking really bad there, negative 1/10 x to the 4th. Was something wrong? Oh. And then positive 9/10. Yeah, don't make a big deal out of it. And then actually, positive and then just 162, right? Lop off a 0 when you 1/10 that. I don't know why I put a parenthesis at the end. Okay, so ain't no thing. It was just a little bit of a distribution and a FOIL before that to get this in standard form. Follow the directions, read the directions so that you understand. Okay, I'm going to do this the awful way, the way I've always done this in the past. And this is really why I said to myself, like, well, actually, when I started teaching this last year, I'm like, yeah, I think this has value. This has value. This helps us algebraically, especially on this question, because I'll tell you the bad thing. First of all, 4 minus 3i is a 0. What else is? 4 plus 3i. And then what you would have to do back in the old Samuelus days, our old pre-calculus book, was we'd have to make that 0 a factor, and that's what it would look like. And then the other 0, the conjugate, is also a factor, so x minus a 0. And then you'd have to not FOIL, you'd have to distribute this minus sign and then do 9 multiplications. And the students were awful at this. Like, they didn't get like how the things flew and the 9 multiplications and so on and so forth. All right, and then same thing with the blue. We'll make that. If root 2 is a 0, then x minus root 2 is a factor. And if root 2 is a 0, negative root 2 is a factor. That's not as bad to FOIL. That's doable. It's easy. But let's just go with the rule, right? And then let's put an a there and an f of x. And then let's actually say, you know what? No way. I am not foiling this. I'm using the rule. It's x squared minus the sum of these two zeros. What's 4 plus 4, everyone? 8. I don't know why that happened up there. So it's minus the sum plus the product. Now, what's the product? It's just 4 times 4, which is 16. 3i times negative 3i, which is negative 9i squared. Sorry, I'm writing, but I can't say the right thing. And then what would happen to the middle term in FOIL? Those would cancel. 4 times 3i, negative 4, or 4 times negative 3i. So we should know when we multiply those conjugate I numbers that it's just the first and the last that end up happening. And negative 9i squared is positive 9, so this is a 25 at the end. So quite literally, if I foiled this out, this is what you should get. And it's amazing how many students do not. All right, so that's why that sum and some things should be good. And then the other one, that's easy, negative root 2. So the sum is 0. Let's stop writing minus 0. And then the product is minus 2. So we do get that, okay? So that's that other one if you foiled the blue. So we're really trying to get you to understand that we don't want to get into a foiling situation on that one up there. We really want to know that minus sum plus product thing. So I want to make sure I did the product right before I continue. I think I'm all right. And now we can go ahead and substitute. Oh, 0.1 comma negative 36. This is negative 36. This is 1. So 1 squared minus 8 times 1 plus 25. And then this is 1 squared minus 2. So input, say it. This is negative 7. Is this 18? Right? Sorry. Isn't that 18 in there? And then this is negative 1. That's not too bad. Negative 36. So I'm going to divide by negative 18 to get A equals 2. Group can't help themselves. All right. Write the equation of a function in factored form, integer coefficients and constants. That means we need this, not these forms. That would be factored in factored form, maybe with linear factors. I think we're going to have that coming up later. Where you could say over the complex number set, which means i's and radicals count, just so you understand the concept. So it's f of x equals 2 for A, and then bring back those. And now I'm done. Is now legal. All right, and then I did that in 12 minutes.